I was born 6 years after the Second World War II. Since I'm young, I heard my family talking about war, people suffering. And after that, when I was young, it was the Vietnam War. Before that, Algerian War. After that, the war in Lebanon. After that, war everywhere, all the time. All the 20th century, and I'm afraid the 21st century, we're gonna live war and war and war. We must stop that, At the same time, I am fascinated by the war. I look at photos of the war and the uniform and the helmets and the guns. So beautiful. There are British soldiers in red, beautiful red. The bottom in gold, shoes black, and beautiful pants. And also fascination because they have the courage to lose their life, in fighting. At the same time, something makes you mad and sick. I'm fascinated by the war. On the other side, I reject the war completely because I know it's crazy. It's crazy to go to the war. Bonjour. We are on time? Good.
Well,
Yeah. What do you think?
It's beautiful.
Okay, thank you.
It's going to look so good.
Great.
It's going to look so good when it's
Okay,
up.
okay. It looks better here than in my studio.
Of course.
Of course.
It's just, even when it's just rested up the wall, once it's on, it's different
Absolutely,
scale.
completely. There are different layers. If you could see on the X-ray, you could see different pieces, the last layer. For example, on the left, I put another character on the left side of this painting, and I didn't like it, so I removed it. I repaint on it, and I put another thing, so it took me a long time to work on. The name of the show is War and Peace, and that's exactly this rat suit with the name of the show. So he has a Kalashnikov, but he's shooting flowers, which is a symbol of peace and flower power.
Oh man, oh.
The rat on the line, above this line, I got some rats running, or here, from here to there. You know that I love London for a long time, so I'm very happy to be here. To me, it's very important. You know, London is a very important place for art, and it's really a privilege for me to be here. For us French people, in the 60s and 70s, all the culture came from London. Music, art, movies. I was so influenced by your culture during my youth. This country is very, very, very important. Very important. This with a cup of coffee.
Oh, that's so Joe. He's got a stencil wrapped with a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he said. I've got the perfect one. Look. That's brilliant.
So this character, I took the photo in Lima, Peru, and I was making graffiti in the city of Lima, and it was a demonstration. So I took a picture very fast because it was a kind of illegal thing that I made in Lima, and so I took a picture of this policeman because he looks very strong.
Best Guinness in London?
Yeah, absolutely. The best Guinness in London. Santé, cheese. Cheese rat. I'm drunk.
Yeah? Don't worry.
Terrible.
No more climbing.
Okay.
Right, if I get one as well, just up against that.
Beautiful. Original rat from Paris, from London, from New York, from everywhere. So it's my Blek le Rat. So I work on the background with green and some blue and some lines like a tag. So I'm waiting now for 15 minutes to put the white layer for the rat, and after that I will make a butterfly here, this butterfly here, and probably one here. That's it. That's great. I think it's an original Jeep, completely original, which is really incredible. With the bullet hole on the decal, original helmet, I guess. It's like a trophy. Great car.
So, Xavier, Sybil, we had a fantastic opening the other evening. I'd like to take a moment and tour the gallery with you and understand more about the different works that we've got on display and grab your thoughts, if that's okay. So if we start with Warbird, this is a very large painting, and I believe that scale was particularly important to you in this exhibition. Why was that?
Because I want to have a big impact, like for the tank at the last show, it was on the large side. So it's pretty difficult to work, for me, to work on large side because my studio is quite small.
Yeah.
So I have to make a lot of effort to work on a really large side like that, you know. It's a challenge because I use 3 different sizes of stencil. The first part was the back of the helicopter, the second one was the middle of the helicopter, and the third one, the front of the helicopter. I can make one stencil in one piece. And also I have to think, when I'm working in my studio, I'm gonna do it, make it in the street. So it has to be something I can make, you know. I can't make a very large stencil in the street. So.
Makes sense. And this has never been used in the street because it's an entirely new stencil that you've created for this exhibition.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it certainly does leave a strong impact in front of it. I think it's very imposing.
Yeah.
I think the blue is a beautiful colour.
Yeah.
And I think it offers a great entrance to the exhibition, and you're sort of startled straight away. It really draws you in.
Yeah.
And the small rat, I believe, is a new stencil as well for this show.
Yeah, it's a new stencil too.
Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. He's scared.
He's like fleeing away.
Yeah, he's like fleeing away, you
Yeah.
know. So when I'm working, I start to work on the background first, and after that I work on with the stencil, and I make a lot of touch-up also for the finishing.
Very good. No, I love the piece. And in front of this masterpiece here, for the first time, I believe, we've done a show poster together.
Yeah.
So there's 100 of them, and they're all signed by you. Is it the first time that you've done something like that? Signed show poster?
Yes.
Yes,
yes,
it's the first time,
yeah.
I believe.
Because we was very conscious when we was planning and discussing this exhibition that we wanted something for everybody. So not everybody we know in the world is fortunate enough to buy a masterpiece.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make accessible products that everybody, no matter what they're looking for, small, large, and price points, allowing collectors to collect what's right for them.
Yes, and also it helps people to remember when the show was.
Absolutely.
It's like when you go to a museum show. When I was younger, I would buy posters from a show of a museum because, of course, I couldn't afford a masterpiece, but I still have them. Also, maybe, you know, hopefully in 10 years' time, we will see this poster and we will remember and we will say, the world was really not a good place.
Yeah.
And I hope that in 10 years' time we will say, but now it's over, now we are all good.
Absolutely. And the image on the poster is actually this artwork here.
Yeah.
Guardian amidst chaos. What sort of thought or feeling do you get when you look at that one, Xavier, there?
A feeling of a horrific moment that we can live in the life of a soldier. Actually, this GIs wounded this poor little boy or little girl. So through the painting, we feel that the soldier, he feels guilty of what he has done. I wanted to represent that fear and also that feeling of guilty, you know, that he regrets to be a soldier and to have killed. And I think things like that happen very often during a fight. I imagine, I never met the war, but I imagine when you're fighting with an enemy, probably you kill some civilian. So I think the feeling that the soldier can have when something like that happens would be terrible. So I wanted to give this feeling to the people who see that. I paint the feet of the little boy in color. The painting is black and white and gray. And it's a little bit like in the movie Schindler's List, when we see the small girl walking in the ghetto of Varsovia. The image is black and white, but she has red shoes.
I think that works well there because you're drawn to it, and it gives you a little bit more thought as to what's going on. It draws you in, doesn't it? A child's feet there in a different colour and it's standing out. I think it represents the show title perfectly, War and Peace. It's a very strong one. And moving into the middle, we've got V for Victory. It's Mr. Winston Churchill. What does that represent to you, that particular piece?
I never met him, but I was born when he was still living. He was very important in France. He is very important for me, and you know, he was so important for the Great Britain too, that when you talk about war, it's impossible not to talk about him. You know, the red background, it's the color of a British uniform.
Yes.
So it's a very beautiful color. Yeah, I respect a lot the soldiers and go to fight, but at the same time it's a kind of reject because deeply I'm against the war. I'm really against the war, you know.
So you're torn between the fascination,
yeah.
what's it all about, the different militaries, the different operations, the camaraderie, the organisation, the structure, but the rejection, why are we doing this? And even in your head, you're having a constant battle.
Yeah, because I don't want to be involved in a war. No, never. I don't want my son to be involved in a war. So that's a reason I reject it, you know.
I mean, this particular piece here, very bright, lots of colour, brace for conflict. I love this one. Again, a very popular one. I think you've used that particular one on the streets prior as well, right?
Yeah, I made the stencil in the street in Melbourne, in Miami. I made a lot of demonstration when I was young. When you walk in the demonstration, you have two feelings. You have a feeling of power, and at the same time, you have cops on the front of you. They look very aggressive and very mean, and it's a fight with the police. And when you fight with the police, it's very dangerous. Also, 1970, I was beaten by a cop, really bad. Really bad, yeah. Because I was running.
And they
when you are in a demonstration, don't run. Right. When you see the cops coming, you don't run. You just move and you walk. But if you start to run, the cops run.
The cops chase the runners.
He chases you running. So I was running, and the guy, wow! I received a bath like that,
with a
and
baton?
I fall down.
With a baton?
With the bat, yeah, like that. Yeah.
And talk to me about this colour. So this is something that we don't see in a lot of the works. This colour, this technique, is this you just with a brush splashing it on the work?
So I think it's very funny because during the demonstration, the students or the people who demonstrate, now they use color, they use paint to throw to the cops. So I think it's very funny. I like that. You know, the cops with the uniform, they look very strong and very powerful. But when you had some paint on them, they look stupid, more vulnerable.
Less scary.
Less scary.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the reason why.
Moving on to these two particular works here, I'll allow you to maybe talk about what you can in relation to these, but I believe the inspiration and initial thought for these works was from your recent visit to Qatar.
Yes, we went to Qatar last February. You know, when I'm traveling, I always try to find some ideas to bring back to France and to work on it. So we were invited to visit the Islamic Museum of Qatar in Doha. And into the museum, we saw this warrior from the 18th, 19th century. I was very impressed by the fear that the soldier gave to me, you know. I decided to take a photo of the soldier and I said, I'm gonna put it on the street because you can imagine this image in the street can be very strong.
Agreed, yeah, very striking.
Strong, very strong. So I'm waiting to find a place to paint it on the street, but I didn't do it yet, but I really would like to paint it in a city, in Paris or London or New York, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're very beautiful and I think very detailed. I think the armour, the complexity around getting that right.
It took me a long time to work on this, maybe 3 weeks on the stencil.
You can tell, I think that it's very intricate, there's a lot of layers, it looks complex, and that idea from you guys travelling to Qatar, you're constantly looking for inspiration, and then you've took that back to the studio in Paris and you've took your inspiration from an idea, a concept to fruition, and it must be delightful for you to see that them in the gallery on the wall now, because as sometimes you're probably not every day, but you're losing hope, you're getting frustrated, and that's the artistic journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
But absolutely. Look at it's worth the commitment, the resilience to continue to produce, because when you do, it's phenomenal.
Many people ask me, where did you get your inspiration? And I would say that when I'm traveling, I always, like here, my travel in London, it gives me a lot of inspiration for the next painting I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I take photos of people, and I'm in constant thinking of my work, you know, every day. To be an artist, it's a work of 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You're always thinking, because it's not easy to work, you know, to have ideas, it's difficult.
Well, especially when you've been doing it for 43 years.
Yeah.
You've definitely served your time, and to keep coming up with constant new creations, I think it's so inspiring for all of us and many artists around the world, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
If we come into the main gallery now, here we've got a fantastic piece on a different medium, wood medium. For me, I love the wood medium. I think super raw, super authentic. You don't see as many pieces on wood as you do canvas or linen. And for me, they're always very, very striking. Talk to me about this particular one.
So I'm working on wood and on fences because in 1985 I worked on the palisade of the Louvre. In 1985 they put a lot of fences around the museum to rebuild the museum, so it was full of fence. After that I had the idea to make fences and work on it like a memory of what I have done on the Louvre fence. I had a show in Paris in 1986 at the Loft Gallery, and I remember to have shown a palisade like that, piece of wood, and I made a tango dancer on the. So and after that, many people start to work on the fence, but I was the first one. It's a real fence, actually. This part is a real fence, and I had this canvas because I think it works.
Yeah.
You know, it's not so this part is really real and old, and this part I had it on canvas. So the graffiti, he's Napoleon when he sacred his wife Josephine. But in this particular painting, I wanted to sacred graffiti and art through the character.
And we've got some intricate details. Who's killing who? We've got the butterfly. We've got the smaller stamp.
Yeah.
I think it works well.
Yeah, it works well. Yeah, and it's like blood, you know.
Yeah.
He has this color is like blood.
The crown came to him with blood.
The crime,
Yeah. It's beautiful.
He was a criminal, you know. He was a criminal.
Most admired criminal.
Yeah. This one.
Handshake of hope.
So it calls the Pact of Amiens. It was done between the British and the French in 1802. He is a British, and he's Lord Cornwall, and he's the Napoleon's brother. And they made a treaty of peace in 1802 for 6 months, or for a very short time. I want to say through this painting that when you start a peace, you can be sure you're going to have a war very soon after, you know.
So very short-lived. The promises,
the promises, they signed the treaty. No, we are not going to aggress you anymore. But 6 months after, they start again. And so it's always been like that since the beginning of the time, you know.
And that's that constant cycle
Constantly,
that you refer to.
War and peace, war and peace. You know, I was born in 1951. I only lived things like that, you know, since my youth. War and peace, war and peace, war and peace.
No respite.
No rest. No
Sad,
rest.
very sad. And major piece in the middle, centerpiece, huge scale again. I love that color. I think it's one of your favorite colors too.
Yeah, because it was the color of the German uniform.
Yes.
German uniform during the World War I. I love this color.
But very imposing.
Yeah, very imposing.
Looking in front of it now, it's almost like towering over us, isn't he?
Yeah.
And what are you doing here to get this sort of texture or different colorway? Are you scratching away the paint?
No, because I try through my paintings to give a feeling of an old wall is beautiful. You can see different layer of colors. There is an history and there is a memory. We call it the memory of the wall, that some children scratch here and some other guy wrote something on the wall. So I really like this. And when I'm working on the wall in the streets, I try
mimic that texture.
To mimic that texture and to...
and it works really well. Again, really raw, really authentic, and I think it makes it more powerful that it's like that. If it was a perfect canvas, I don't think that leaves the same impression.
Yeah.
I like the rawness, the grittiness, because that's the message, effectively, isn't it?
I agree.
Very good. And this one here, Silence the Shooting.
This one here, it's a stencil from 2008. It works with the idea of war and...
He looks frightened to me. He looks a younger guy. You've got these warriors there. They're on point. They're here to do a job. And this guy, he doesn't want it. He wants it gone, and he's a little bit scared. And he's almost holding his ears to protect them from what he's seeing and hearing around him.
Yes, and you see what is to come for him. You know, like soldiers, when they come back from the battle, they have PTSD. You know, so it looks really like that, as if he is real, and that's the memory. You know, he's afraid whenever he hears a loud noise.
Draws him back into that moment of darkness and that period. Very good. Again, two large pieces on the wood medium.
Wood medium. So this is a piece I made in Lviv, in Ukraine. So it was just before the war. I had the feeling in 2019 that the war was closed. So I put this image, which reminds the death. He's singing to the death and to the war and fight. And
yeah, love it. I think it's a beautiful piece. We had one very similar in the Return of the Rat last year, but in a black and white variant. It was on canvas, I believe.
Yeah.
But this one, I'm particularly drawn to, again, the rawness, the grittiness, the real toughness, I think, that provokes a strong feeling. The graffiti with the Stop War, but then the beautiful blue and green that it moves into. So it's almost like an ultra dark setting beneath, but above it's giving me more vibrancy, happiness, head and above. But
something tragical in this image, you know, he's singing to the death, playing guitars and singing, and I like very much his piece.
The electric guitar brings us to our days. It comes from an old master painting, and he was playing the lute, and you know, the electric guitar makes it more modern, brings us.
A beautiful piece, I like it, and so much going on. Chaos 2024.
Chaos.
I believe the first time I ever visited your studio,
it was
2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years now.
Yeah.
He was there, Chaos is there. He's not complete.
Yeah, not complete.
And this is something you've worked on for the best part of 3 years. Adding stencils, adding graph, and adding to that texture and complexity of it. And for me, that literally feels like it's been plucked off the street. And people have been doing this over years and years.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to provoke to the people, that it was taken from the street and so many layers. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, I put here Beethoven and here Franz Liszt. And so it didn't work very well because we didn't see the meaning between the angel and Liszt and Beethoven. So I repaint the two characters and I start to work on it. And in working on it through the years, it was more and more chaotic, you know. So I said, it's a chaos. This painting represents the chaos of life and the chaos of the war. And this stencil is coming from a Manet painting called Pied Piper. I wanted to show that also kids can make war, you know. During the World War II, kids was fighting, you know, for Hitler. So kids are involved in war too.
Yeah,
on the direction of the Black Angel. He's not a nice angel. He's a dark angel, yeah.
It's very, very compelling, and I think, look, the layers even here, like I can sort of see here, no more war, but then there's paint coming across it. Can I see a kid's name here, Chris? I've got the rats, I've got the craziness, and
a cloud of blood.
Yeah.
And again, this rat is fleeing.
Yeah, get out of here.
Get
Scary.
out of this.
Yeah, it's remarkable, and I think again the detail, the complexity, the layers, the rawness. The opening on Wednesday, I'm seeing a lot of people stand there and look at it and just asking themselves so many internal questions. I would love to know what they was asking themselves, but I think they was all impressed and left with a lasting impression, that's for sure. If we move into here, art is not peace but war. This is reference from Norman Mailer, who was one of the first journalists in New York to write about the graffiti movement, and also published the book Faith of Graffiti. Art is not peace but war. What did he mean by that? What does that mean to you?
To me, it means when you decide to work in art, don't think that it's going to be a peacetime of your life. No, it's a real fight. No rest again, you know. You fight, it's a war against ourselves. It's a war also, there is a lot of competition, you know, in the art world. So it's a big fight, you know, to keep your place. And also it's a fight because create is not so easy. People think that it's easy to create. It's very difficult because when you are on the front of your white canvas, and it's white, and the white doesn't want you to come and to paint on it because it doesn't want. So it's a real fight at that time to when you start to paint on it and to create a new image, and it's a real fight with you, with ourselves, you know. I think it's the same thing for every artist. When you see an artist working on his painting, and you see that it's like a fight, a boxing fight, you know. It's like really, and when you are not happy with what you have done, it's like a punch that you receive. When you see your thing after you work on it for hours, and after that you come and you say, oh shit, it's horrible. Okay, so it's a punch. It's a real fight, you know. It's a real fight. So that's the reason I really like this quote from Norman Mailer.
It perfectly describes, in one phrase, it describes the artistic journey.
So this particular piece, we obviously made a limited edition, very small run, 30, always very well received. I think they're great, the way you sign them in the corner. I think everybody's always blown them away. And again, accessibility. And then we've got a couple of smaller pieces, again from It's the Last Day of Your Life, meter by meter. I think that size, I really like that size. I think collectors do, the meter, I think it's manageable. Not everybody's got...
You're right.
I love this, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, but the size is too big.
But how many people can home that? And I think these meter, I think instantly they went. I mean, look, the majority of the show again, much like last year, is sold, and I think we'll sell out by the end of the weekend. So remarkable, but this size and tends to go very, very quickly. And I think the different array of colour, very, very gripping. Another piece up here on the wood medium, love the gold background, beautiful. Is that a stencil or is that hand-drawn?
It's a hand-drawn.
Yeah. And you haven't done many hand-drawn works?
Maybe 10 or 15 during my life.
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I think the rat looking up, and again, the wood blows me away, the floating frame, I think it looks remarkable. The gold with the wood works well. Here, obviously, an iconic rat, which you're so well known for.
Iconic rat.
Does this take you back? What was the first rat you used on the streets? Was it the classic rat?
Classic rat.
That's where you started. And then we've evolved the rat series. We've got the crew now, we've got the warrior, and we've got the new rat. The rat series will continue to evolve, no doubt. Rope pulling. Everyone loves this stencil, whether it's in the print form, the original print, the original. It's the first time we've had an original of a rope pulling, and I love them. You've done this on the streets, you've done it in Dubai. I love it. Talk to me about it in your words. What does that mean to you, or what are you trying to provoke or represent within the work?
It's a moment of peacetime, you know. It's a moment of freedom and peacetime where kids of different culture are playing together and they're happy. So they play with me because I'm the rat. It's more maybe natural when kids, they play together, they don't have any fear, they don't have any opinion and judgment, they don't judge the others, they play together.
The innocence, the
innocence
naivety,
and
the pureness.
absolutely.
And it almost looks like it could be on like a beach with the colour.
Yeah, it could be a beach.
Yeah, if you look at their mouths, I think the smiles on each face is really distinctive.
They're funny. Yeah, they are.
Talk to me about these works, beautiful.
So it's the same, you know, when children start to play, they want it to be like in a real life, adult's life. They play like soldier. This guy is like, not a soldier, but Napoleon, you know. No judgment, yeah, they are playing together. Again, different color, different people, different culture. And they play together and they love each other. It's a moment of freedom and peace also, but with the idea of one guy can take the power and be the president and put the people in the war. You never can trust the moment of peace and freedom because a few years after it could change.
Peace is not promised.
No, absolutely.
Beautiful. And here we've got the iconic rats on the wood medium and the floating frames.
Yeah.
Again, excellence. I think they speak for themselves. Iconic. It's what you're known for. Always sell. I think, again, come in. By the time the doors open, they're gone.
Yeah.
People just can't get enough of them. And I think they're beautiful and I really like them on the wood medium. I'd like to speak about these because, again, this is something when we talk about wanting everybody to have the accessibility to collect. This is the first time that you have released original prints on linen. So for me, it could almost be a painting, they're that good quality, but they're not. This is done in a printing form, silk screen printing, but they're only one of one and on the linen medium. If I chose that image, Sybil, the rope pulling at the top, and that colorway, why could I never have that exact one again?
Because it's really an original. Screen printing is very similar to stencil. The only difference is, you know, that you fill in the gaps. What is cut out will be black or another color. So it's very similar to the stencil, so which makes it the perfect technique to reproduce images that have been done with a stencil before. It's perfect. It never feels not natural. But the good thing is, Xavier was able to work the background as if it was an original. So you see, it's not the perfect. You know, there are spots where color is a little bit missing, just like he does in his paint. It's very rare to see a Blek le Rat painting where there's, it's never clean. We really choose to keep this kind of little bit rough. It also relates, you know, when you see the yellow one, again, conveys the beach, the sun, happiness. And here it's perfect because you can really play with the different colors, completely create a different message. Blue and yellow one is more classic. It was released in 2017, but there was a moment everybody had a selfie stick. Xavier always likes to talk about what is happening in the world. People are so crazy with their selfies. Even there was a catastrophe, first thing they would do, they wouldn't call for help, they would probably take a selfie. But then again, you know, it could be outside, blue sky, even though there's been bombings. Where is the gray-orange one? The sky is on fire.
And something, again, the product-wise, if that person's looking for something with a little bit more special, that they'd be the only ones who own it, kudos and the rarity. It's another step and a price point that haven't got the money to get an original. This might be a closer step if you're looking for something above that limited edition on paper. And I think, again, gone down very well, and I think they're remarkable, and I think they've come out very beautifully. And this one, I know this is an amazing painting. It's also not stencil, it's painted, and it's a representation of a major work in France.
I took it from a painting of Delacroix, French painter of the 19th century. For this painting, I work with the pastel because I was very influenced by the artists who work on the sidewalk, in the street, with chalk. They make beautiful paintings, you know, they represent beautiful paintings. Sometimes it's really beautiful on the sidewalk. She wears this kind of hat, the red hat.
It's beautiful. We obviously know it's going to a good home. You met the collector. So if we go out here, we've obviously got some more original prints on linen, again, remarkable. Art is not peace but war. But if we go into this room, we're going to see some live work that Xavier done. So you went a bit rat crazy. We put the iconic rats everywhere. We've got a warrior coming across. Some tag work by K1, who kindly put War and Peace by Blek le Rat. And all of the rats circulating into enough rope pulling. I think we hid it nicely within the exhibition, and it was like a mad surprise towards the end. Was it nice to do some work direct onto the gallery walls?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's a memory of what happened in the street before, you know.
The black and red works well for the war, the peace, and maybe they're representing the blood from the war and the danger. Very good. That's the exhibition. Thanks again.
Thank you, Joe.
I'm delighted with how it went.
I'm delighted too.
Well done again.
Okay.
Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sybil.
This is the best Guinness in London, man. The best one. Look at that. So good. But it's really good, huh? I love it. Salute.